Hello friends. So in the previous session we have studied about the server that can interact with a single client, because in the server there is a main loop. So in that loop only one client can be accommodated, and when the another client is going to enter into the loop, uh, it cannot access that loop because the first client is already using that loop for the server process, as the server is a single process, so it cannot accommodate more than one client to its loop. So we have already seen that accept is a default blocking call, so it will wait for a new connection. So the main thing is a loop which we have put into that server. So the placement of the loop will decide the working for the server. So we have different approaches to accommodate the multi-client scenario in the server for a TCP socket. So the first possible solution is using a fork system call. So what is a fork system call? Fork system call is a system call that works on in the process management system for a kernel. So it will create a new process from the old process. So the old process from which the new process been spawned is called a parent process, and the process which is created from the fork call is called as the child process. So we'll see what are the problems that will be involved in this approach of using fork. We will also see what is the possible optimization solution for the multi-client scenario. So let's see in the code. So next one is server new client handler. So what it does is it will take the listen ft and will give the new socket ft of the connected client. So once we get this new ft for that client, we need to receive the data from the client. So we'll have this api as server receive from client. So it will take this new fd that is created from the new client handler, and it will put in here, and then we have the receive message from the client to the server using this api. And the next is server send to client. So if we want to send some data to the client, then we need the socket fd for that particular client. Then we'll have the message, we'll send the message through this pointer. And then the last one is server create new process. So this api is used to create the child process from the server process, so that child process will communicate with the particular client. So let's refactor our code using these API. We'll write these API quickly, then we will explain each one of these API in detail. So let's start. So I have refactored the code with the APIs that we have defined. So let's go in each API and check what are the things we have implemented in here. So let's check for the the first API, that is server create socket. So let's click on it, and now we are in the API. So what I have done here, I just have the checks on the system call for socket, bind and listen. So this API will return the listen ft to the function that is using this API, and we'll get -1 in case of error in any API, and return 0 if all the APIs are successful. So let's go for the second API. So the second API is server new client handle. So this will handle the new client to the server. So let's check for this API. So what I have implemented here is we have the two arguments here. So the first one is a listen ft that we have to pass to this function, and we'll get the new socket ft from this function. So we have implemented the accept system call here, and we have also put on a check for the accept. If it returns less than 0, then we will get a error. Let's check for the third one. So third one is server receive from client. So this is the communication between the client and the server. When the client sends some data to the server, it should be received in the server. So this is the API for that. So let's check this API also. So what I have done here is we have the receive system call here that will take the client socket on which the server is listening on for the client data, and we'll get the read bytes, how many bytes we have read. So in order to check whether the client is exited or have some problem, so I have put a else if statement here for read bytes is 0. If the client get disconnected with this server, then it will return the bytes to 0. So if that happens, so we'll have this client disconnected message shown. We'll check this how it is working, and then we have this flush in order to flush the stream, and then we close the socket and then exit from this call. And if none of this is true, then there must be some error in the fail, and in that case also we are exiting. So this is the complete code for receiving the data from the client. So let's check for the third one, sorry, the first one, that is servers send to client. If you want to send some data to the client, so we have two parameters. So this is the message pointer which we want to send to the client, and this is the socket ft related to that client. And let's check this. So in here I have implemented the send system call that will take the client socket and the send message, and depending on the length of the message, it will send the bytes to the particular client. We are not using this stuff here now, but we'll use it in the further code study. Then it will return the number of bytes that has been wrote onto the client. So let's check for the last one. So last one is the main API which we are using to create a new process. So server create new process. It will take the listen ft, and the second one is the new socket. So let's check this. So in here we have this listen socket and new socket. So what it does, so fork is a system call that helps in creating the child process from the parent process. So if this fork system call returns 0, so that it should be in a child process. So if it is greater than 0, then it is in the parent process. So, and if it return else, then we have some problem in the fork. So this way we have implemented the fork. So if you don't know about fork, you have to check the link given in the description about the fork system call. You can check out, but the main point here is if it returns 0, then it should be in the child process. So we are printing in child process, then the new socket FD that we get from here, and then we close the listen socket, because once we get into the child process, we don't need this listen socket, because the new socket is already been created, and the client is listening and sending the data on the same new socket. So one more thing what we have done here, we have put a while loop in here, so that the server can continuously check for the data from the connected client. So it will have this first new FD and the buffer. So whatever data will be there, it should be put on this buffer. Okay, so this is how we have implemented this fork call. So once this call is being executed, we'll get the another instance for the same server that can communicate with the client. So like if we have 4 clients, so the 4 new different processes for the server is being spawned, and each server process will be communicating with each other client. So this way it is working. So let's see on the main how we have implemented it. So let's check for the main. So this is the main. So we have reduced the code in the main. So first one is a server create. So first we have to create the listen socket, and we'll saving it on a listen FD variable. So once we get the listen FD, then we need to have the loop. So this loop is important because we have to handle the new connection. So this new connection will take the listen FD, because the server will be listening on to this listen FD only for the new connection. And once the the client is been connected with this server, it will make use of this new socket. And once this handler is completed, then we have the server create new process. So for each connection we have a different process, and this process will talk to the particular client. Okay, so let's see how it is working. So let's go to our terminal. So we have 3 terminals here. So let's first compile our codes. Let's remove server and remove client. So let's gcc -o server and server.c. okay, so it's get compiled. So we'll get a server executable, and let's compile for client also. So client.c, so we'll get compiled also. So before going further, I think we need to check for the client code also again, so that so this is the same client code which we are using in the previous session. So we are sending the hello server to our server, and it will take the sleep of 3 seconds, and it will send the data after 3 seconds each. Okay, so let's check for this. Okay, so let's spawn the server first. So we'll spawn the server. So server started, we get a message. Now on the client side, let's spawn the client 1. So you see here, you get the message server started in parent process, because this parent process been exited in child process. Now we have the new socket FD 4, and this 4 uh, FD will be communicating with this server. So we have the client ID 4, read these many bytes, and we'll get a hello server from this client ID. So let's spawn one more server, another terminal, and let's see what is happening. So let's spawn it. So you'll see here, you will get in parent process, then we have in child process, and then we have a new FD 5. So this 5 is linked with this client, and the 4 is linked with this client. So we have consecutive message from 4 and 5, and the server have the information of all the clients that is connected, whether it is 4 or what it is 5. So what is let's try exiting one client. So I use Control C. You see here, you'll see a client disconnected. So once it is disconnected, so the server get information about the client which is disconnected. Now we get the message only from this 4, and let's spawn it again. So you get a new socket FD, that is 6, and now 6 will be communicating with the server. So what is the the problem with this fork while we are using the multi-client application? So let's have this terminal, and let's have ps-ax grep server. So you see here, there are lot of server executable process that is being spawned. This we have maybe deleted, and this server is also working. So see, there are lot of overhead for the processes while we are using the fork system call here. Okay, so each client will be communicating with the new server process. So if you have 10,000 clients that is interacting with this server, so we have the 10,000 server processes also. So it will abruptly affect this system. So we need to have another approach to be used to rectify this problem. So this can be rectified with the select system call. So the select system call we'll discuss in the next part. So if you have any query, please comment on the post. So if you want to get the the code for this server and client, I will share the GitHub link given in the description of this video. So stay tuned, and see you in the next tutorial. So okay, bye bye, take care.